It's time for the main event. It's the Shoeshine.
Que onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas for a July 5th special Tuesday night edition of the Shoeshine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, it's my co-host, Philly Irish Drew Evo. Drew, how the hell are you? How was your 4th of July weekend?
Boring as fuck.
It was what?
Boring as fuck.
It was boring AF. Come on now. We took Monday off, man. You gotta make something up at least, man. Shout out to everybody joining us in the room. Oh, I do appreciate you guys because it was just kind of random. JC, Chicano Prophet, El Chilo Boxing, saludos, homeboys. Hey, Drew, 4th of July, you know, there's a tradition, right? And I'm from San Jose, and Chicano Prophet is in the room, a San Jose State alumni. You know who else is a San Jose State alumni? Is the world's greatest competitive eater, Joey Chestnut, all the way from San Jose, representing. But who knew that not only is he one of the world's best competitive eaters, world champion hot dog eater, but you step to him and fuck with him on the stage, and you got something coming. Because did you see this rear naked chokehold? Check this out. Check out this chokehold. Oh, don't get on stage with him. Don't mess with Joey Chestnut, man. Don't get on the stage and mess with his performance. By the way, he still managed to win the contest, Drew, even taking time to choke this random protester out. And I mean, can somebody tell me what the hell was that? What is the protest about, bro? It's the hot dogs, man. I don't even know what the sign was, Drew, but that's how it goes. He's still the world champion in the sport of, competitive eater in the hot dog contest, the great Nathan's competition. So shout out to Joey Chestnut from San Jose, of course. I hope everybody had a great barbecue, great time with their family, and it was a safe and great time here. JC says Chestnut is the boogeyman at hot dog eating contest. Yeah, he is, man, you know. Even though there's been some competitors, there's been some Japanese people that are pretty good at it too, man. So, Drew, we had just a little bit, like less than a handful of boxing, just a couple of things over the weekend. But one of them to me, and I got to tell you, I was surprised, man, because it was Saturday afternoon boxing for me out here on the West Coast. And I turned into ESPN to see Maurice Breidis, who is the heavy, favorite. Going to Australia, a 3-time cruiserweight champion. And they say nobody watches cruiserweight champion stuff. He goes down to Australia, right? Just like Devin Haney did to go take on Kambosos, who was the great Australian star after winning all 4 titles. But hey, this kid is the challenger. He's half Samoan. He's from Australia. The kid's name is Jai Opetai, right?
Yeah.
The first 6 rounds, he puts a beat down on Maurice Breidis, okay? That's how I had it. I mean, skillful boxing. He's a heavy-handed southpaw. He outboxed him cleverly, surprisingly, wittingly, all right? The scorecards come back 116-112, 116-112, and 115-113, which is, to me, was a pretty decent score, 115-113. But bro, if you guys did not see this, Breidis came on so strong. I thought he could have won all 6 of those rounds, which could have been a draw. Could have easily, to me. All right, yeah. Maybe I wasn't watching it that closely. I'm not going to watch the fight again. But Drew, this fight was intense, bro. Did you see the blood on Breidis? He broke his nose, and he was fighting with a broken nose for the entire second half of the fight, only to come back and hit this kid with some of the meanest uppercuts I've seen in the cruiserweight division. Breaks the jaw of the new champion, of the Samoan kid from Australia. Breaks his jaw in 2 places. The video's out there. The pictures are out there, guys. You guys want to see this because this was a gnarly breakage of the jaw on both spots. He went into the guy's room, demanded, let's do this again. Let's do this for the fans. It was an amazing fight. They want no part of it. From what I'm reading today, Drew, they want to take on a top 10 contender that was his sparring partner in Australia for Opetai. That's who they want to fight. And they think they might need a whole year. So Breidis, who's now 37 years old, loses his IBF title. Did you know how many times I said it earlier, but he's a 3-time cruiserweight champion. One of his most famous losses is to your favorite homeboy from the cruiserweight, undisputed Usyk, now heavyweight champion, man. We have to wrap our minds around this, Drew, because Usyk, in an interview, says that Breidis was the most difficult fight of his professional career. Not Anthony Joshua. Breidis in the World Boxing Super Series, man, which, you know, a lot of Americans didn't watch that, but that shit was pretty damn good, man. Your thoughts on Breidis at 37, losing his IBF title? And what are your thoughts, man? You think this kid from Australia is the real deal, or you think he's going to hold up and stink up the holding on to that title?
Depends where he fights next. Like Okoli, you know, he fights him, he could lose to Okoli in a unification. But when it comes to Breidis, you know, he's 37. You're a 3-time cruiserweight champion. Like, is it too? Maybe it's time for you to try yourself, your luck at heavyweight glory, or is he too small for heavyweight?
Man, I think he's too small. I think most people would agree he's too small for the heavyweight division. He's got a lot of power, Drew, but I think he's going to give anybody who wants some action at the cruiserweight division. I think there's got to be some good fights for him, man, because I think he almost ultimately pulled off this win. And if there had been 2 more rounds, or like the old school days where they used to fight 15, I think he would have finished the kid. To be honest. But for him, Drew, there's more to it because Breidis knows that he's aging, and he spent the majority of early part of this year. Did I mention to you, most of you guys know that Jake Paul is the guy that Breidis wants to fight. He's never had a big cash payday. He went as far, Drew, as recording a hip-hop diss track at Jake Paul. Says, I'm the cruiserweight champion, and I want to fight you, so let's do it. The world champion, IBF champion, was calling out Jake Paul.
Kid, pick up the phone and put down your toys. Looks like you have a little monkey balls, only hanging around with the Pornhub dolls. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess that was your girl.
How about that, man? Went to the studio and laid down a diss track at Jake Paul, calling him out, trying to get that Tommy Fury money that Tommy Fury's trying to get too. Now Breidis doesn't have the IBF title. He has nothing, man. He doesn't have no title. Bro, you think he's gonna be somebody for somebody? I mean, Jake Paul, anybody? I mean, he beat the shit out of Jake Paul. I don't see Jake Paul fighting him, but there's got to be a cruiserweight out there. Here are the current champions, man. Okali from the UK, a 6'5" cruiserweight beast, should really be a heavyweight. A lot of people say that, man. He really should go up to the heavyweight division, but he's holding on to one of the titles. What title is that? Let me see here. He's the WBO champ. And then, of course, Makabu, who is probably even older than Breidis. He holds a WBC belt. That's the title that Canelo Alvarez earlier in the year was toying with the idea that he could take on cruiserweights and that he was going to go for Makabu. I think he beats Makabu, man. But a lot of these guys, you know, they've seen each other before in the World Boxing Super Series. It was only because Usyk vacated all these titles that all these guys now have split ways and are, you know, it could potentially be a weak-ass division all over again with very little eyes on it. I don't see this Australian kid having that star power. Not only that, that fight took a lot out of him. It snapped his jaw. So, yeah, I think the takeaway for me, Drew, is the fact that I ended up researching and finding out that Usyk thinks very highly of Breidis and said it was one of the best fights of his professional career. So, hey, speaking of Usyk, do you want to chime in more on that fight, Drew, though, before we move on?
Hey, we could chime in on it a little bit more if you want. Like, I look at it like this. Breidis don't really have a lot more to do in the cruiserweight division because, like, he's getting older now. Does it make sense? He's not going to be a Hall of Famer because he's known to be in a division that's not really popular in the United States. It's not really known in the United States. So, is he going to be a Hall of Famer? No, he couldn't. No, I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. The only thing that could possibly make him a Hall of Famer if he becomes a 4-time cruiserweight champion or he's undisputed. He could have a borderline Hall of Fame, but I really don't see him actually being in a Hall of Fame. It's a shame he can't go down to 175 because he's too old now. I don't think he makes 175.
I got to agree with you there. You know, I was listening to Joe Habib. Shout out to Joe Habib, ringside reporter, and everyone over there. Because he's some of the people in his show were saying, man, it was great to see cruiserweights fight at the level of light heavyweights, man. There was a lot of punches thrown in that fight. A lot of punches thrown in that fight.
Cruiserweight's a very underrated division. I don't mind watching cruiserweight boxing. That's how I discovered Usyk. I discovered Usyk on a HBO card.
And as we're talking about Usyk, you just said that. Okay, so here's the CompuBox from Usyk versus Breidis at the World Boxing Super Series. Usyk threw 848 shots, nearly 1,000 shots for a cruiserweight. He landed only 212. It was a very close fight. Breidis landed 195 of 579. But for Breidis, who throws a lot of shots, man, he cannot keep up with the activity of Usyk. Usyk edged that fight, a close fight, but he edged it. And like he said, in retrospect, he says that was one of the better fights in his professional career. And he's had a long amateur career, so I don't know how it'd rank with his amateur career, but I don't know. Hey, shout out to Sin City Syndicate. Thank you so much for posting those odds. He wants us to know that the current odds right now are Usyk negative 200, Joshua plus 158. What do you think of them odds?
The odds are going to get tighter before this fight goes.
They're pretty tight now.
Yeah, that's pretty tight. I think they're going to get tighter, though.
Really? You think it's Robert Garcia?
I think it's going to go to a pick'em fight, if that makes sense. But you're not going to make no money betting on this fight unless you bet Usyk by stoppage.
The one that's more interesting to me right now, currently, Sin City Syndicate posted, is current odds for Cinnamon. He says Cinnamon, like that's Canelo's name. Negative 460, Gennady Golovkin plus 328. We know that those tend to move quickly right before the fight, and I just don't see that. That's too far apart for me right now, especially taking into account Gennady Golovkin's most recent performance and Canelo Alvarez's most recent. Man, that shit is heating up. All that drama is heating up right now, Drew. When it gets slow in boxing, I go and read the gossip, man, and they're throwing bombs at each other.
Yeah,
using the internet.
He's talking about, him be like, you're the one that got caught on steroids and everything. It's funny as hell, man.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's all over Instagram. Even my wife was like, did you see this? Did you see he's reminding Canelo that their second fight, he's the one that came up and tested dirty for the dirty beef. And Canelo says, I'm not a liar. I told you. See, the doping agency said it was tainted meat and it was tainted. And those guys are really trying to sell this fight. Or they just genuinely dislike each other and they have a long history. And it's a rubber match that I can't wait for, man. I can't wait for that trilogy. It's going to be a great fight. In September. So, yeah, we'll see. When it gets slow, it's like, okay, is this a great opportunity for some of these fighters to sell their fights? Speaking of Canelo, and I don't want to talk about Ryan Garcia, but, man, Ryan Garcia's fight's coming up around the corner, and Floyd Mayweather had to chime in on that. Floyd Mayweather had to chime in that Ryan Garcia should learn how to keep his mouth shut, talking about somebody who you claim, just 6 months ago, he was your what do you call that? Someone you look up to, man. Your mentor, right? Your mentor,
yeah,
like the same relationship he has with Tank Davis. I think what he's really saying is, Tank, please don't go, talking shit on me on the internet. Please don't do what Ryan Garcia does to Canelo, please. But I'm deviating from the fights. Guys, the phone line is open. If you guys have been reading about this Ryan Garcia, shit talking on Canelo, giving his opinion on who's going to win the fight, I think that really got under Canelo's skin that the skinny little Ryan is saying Gennady Golovkin is going to beat him. And he seems to be upset at a lot of people right now. That's my opinion. The Canelo's is in his feelings way too much. And he's upset at a lot of people when he should just really be taking the time out to focus on Gennady Golovkin and what he's going to do to beat the 40-year-old version of Gennady Golovkin. If you guys want to chime in and give me a call, 702-710-3627. Shout out to Mom Food. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. Go ahead, Drew.
But you know what, man? I ain't gonna see him, man. He's a fucking child. First of all, he acts like a fucking child. Like he doesn't know any. Like he just, say, "Oh, that's not my boy, man." So I'm gonna get on him and everything. I'm gonna diss him so I can keep my name in the news and everything. I'm gonna diss him, and then after that, I'm gonna call out Tank again. Anything, keep my ass noticed. But to tell you the truth, it's like this. I was watching, who was it? What channel was I watching? T Street Conversations. Shout out to that dude. I like his content. They had a media questionnaire with Ryan Garcia and virtual one. So it was one dude, start talking, start asking a Canelo question, and then he comes out, and then his publicist comes out of nowhere, says, Can you please ask a question going to Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna? Cut the dude off, and then cut him out and everything. And then one of the dudes in the chat was like, no Canelo questions and everything. So they Oscar and him. Oscar is really, trying his best not to have Canelo being brung up with Ryan at the same time and everything. But like Oscar at the same time admitted that he was protecting Canelo when he was matchmaking him. When he was like this, to Eddie Horn, I would have never put him in that fight with Beaver and everything.
Right.
So, like, I tell you the truth, Oscar never ducked anybody in his career, but he's really is different as a promoter.
You're most definitely right about that. At Ryan Garcia's age, he's already on to greatness in his professional career. By the way, Sin City's in the Kid also posted the current odds for Garcia Fortuna, and these are super wide. Wow, Garcia negative 1150 to Fortuna plus 641. I don't see Fortuna winning this fight, only based on his most recent performance against Jojo Diaz, Drew. But Garcia looked pretty rough in his last fight against that fighter Tagbo, man.
I think he looked like shit.
He looked pretty bad in that fight. He looked pretty rusty. Now, I've been watching the videos that do come out on my timelines, my Instagram and Twitter timelines, and he's doing some good work on the heavy bags. That's for sure. He's looking like he's going for this knockout against Fortuna. But Fortuna can box. Fortuna can box. He's pretty slick himself.
He's gonna get caught. Watch.
He could get caught, man. And in fact,
Lonnie's going to get caught.
You know who also had to chime in this week is Shakur Stevenson, man. Shakur Stevenson's looking to unify and become undisputed at 130, and he wants to let everybody know that he thinks he's better than Tank Davis. He thinks his skill set's even better than Canelo Alvarez. And he had this to say about Ryan Garcia, that he's known the kid since they were 9 years old. He says Ryan can box, but he's not that skilled. Like it didn't make any sense. Shakur Stevens saying, yeah, I know the kid. I know I can vouch he's boxed since he was 9 years old. We're deep in the amateurs. I fought Ryan before as a little child, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have that many skills. And he wanted to remind everybody that Ryan Garcia is going to get knocked out because he still can't keep his head down. He can't tuck his chin in, for crying out loud. How long's he been fighting? He won't tuck his chin in. Something's going to happen.
I should talk to Shakur Stevenson, man. He sees what I see, man.
Shakur Stevenson,
what I fucking see.
He says he's better than everybody out there, including Tank, and he wouldn't mind seeing Tank someday, man. I think what interests me about Shakur after watching him fight twice now live in person is I think he's really trying to wait out the 135-pound division. I mean, there's a Venezuelan fighter who has one of the 130-pound belts. He wants to fight that guy. He wants to fight this other little-known guy who's got a title, and then he can say, I'm undisputed. And then by then, everyone will eventually have moved up to 140 pounds, and he can come into 135. And the only guy left will be 38, 39-year-old Lomachenko. You know. Who knows? Who knows? I'd like to see him fight those type of guys sooner than later, man. But shout out to Nando Lamas, who just came in the room. What's up? He has this to say, though. He says, Fortuna Garcia is a good fight, but I want to see Tank and Ryan soon. Exactly. Everyone else at 135 is busy, and they should stay busy, man. They should stay busy. I wanted to talk about this, Drew, but I didn't even write it down. But since you guys are all here, man, 140-pound division, Josh Taylor was at that fight in Vegas during the COVID shutdown. You guys know that I met Michaela Mayer. She's at the very beginning of my boxing intro. And, bro, he gave up those belts. Like, 2 of the belts are up for grabs. So now we're going to have Zepeda and Fresno's very own Jose Ramirez fighting again in us. What is this there? There's going to be their number 2, man, for the vacant belt, right? And everyone should be pissed off. By the phone line is lighting up. Thank you. I'm going to answer that call. Everyone should be pissed off, man, because Regis Prograis, of all those 2 vacant belts, man, he's not getting a crack at any of them. And he arguably beat Josh Taylor. He's been letting everybody know this week, this is some effing bullshit, dude. I'm not fucking getting a chance. I arguably beat Josh Taylor. I'm undefeated. And, oh no, excuse me. He can't be undefeated. He didn't beat Josh Taylor.
He lost the fight.
Yeah, but he can't get a title shot, man. That's messed up. Let's take this phone call. See what's on people's minds today. Yo, you're on the Shoeshine 503. What's up?
Chicano.
What's happening, fellas? This is the Chicano Prophet.
What's up, Chicano, man? Yeah, it's Tuesday, special Shoeshine episode. Thank you for calling, man. What's on your mind, Chicano Prophet?
I'm loving it just in time, man. I'm glad to catch you guys. Well, I just wanted to chime in regarding the whole Shakur Stevens thing. Dave, you were mentioning the fact that, I agree with you. They're starting to time his career a little bit, like the Oscar Vargas fight, the win was definitely impressive, and then it kind of got featured to us that we might have him go undisputed or move up to 135, which everybody was okay with because, let's be honest, undisputed is great and all, but it's a little overrated. I think all of us would prefer Shakur to be at 135. And now all of a sudden we're hearing that Shakur might fight Conceição, and it seems like that's official. Conceição, who lost to Valdez, and we scored that fight. And I'll tell you what, to me, it looked like a win for Valdez. It wasn't controversial. Then he beat some club-level Sacramento dude, right, that, he was featured on Showtime once. Like, that's a nothing win. Like, to me, like, I don't know, maybe he gets a pass, a little soft touch, but he's not that young anymore. Shakur's 25, you know what I mean?
Did you just throw shots at Sacramento's? That guy fought for TMT, right? What's his name? I think G-Funky knows.
All I can say is if there's anybody coming out of Sacramento worth knowing about, you'll hear it from the Chicano Prophet or Nopal.
What Chicano's trying to say is fuck Sacramento.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. All I'm saying is, like,
well,
you'll hear it from me
fuck
first if there's somebody worth paying attention to. That's all.
Yeah, you're talking about Conceição fought the Sacramento fighter in his comeback fight, right? and he made him look kind of
Yeah,
amateurish.
Xavier Martinez, which was, I
Yeah,
mean, I
Xavier
couldn't believe
Martinez.
that dude was the favorite. I made money on that one. I bet on that one. I couldn't believe that people thought that Martinez would be the favorite, or Marinas, or what the hell that guy's name is. You won't hear from him again. And, you know, we're kind of getting sidetracked. My point is that Shakur, you know, he's starting to, you know, pick his fights a little bit, you know, and I think we should all just be aware of it. That's all.
I do want to say that I have read into the Shakur versus Constantin, and I think it's an excellent fight. Constantin doesn't get the credit he deserves. You know, he's a gold Olympian, Olympic gold medalist. He has a fantastic amateur pedigree, and that fight was really, really close with Valdez. I think that's a very solid fight. I mean, for Shakur Stevenson, I like that fight. And I do agree with you as well that I'd like to see him move on rather quickly onto the 135-pound division. He's humongous, bro. You see them like when he takes pics with Tank Davis, that even looks bigger than Tank, right? He looks bigger than Tank. Tank's gone as high as 140. There's really not much for him to accomplish just to add his name to that undisputed list. But let me know what you guys think, man. Should he stick around and clean out the 130-pound division? Everybody would like to have that on their resume, right? I don't know how I feel about that. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Drew, how do you feel about that? Time for Shakur Stevenson to move up quick? This is a good fight, the one with Constantin.
Let him go undisputed.
Let him go undisputed, he says. All
Let him
right.
have it under his belt. Like, to tell you the truth right now, these other guys are just bullshitting.
Yeah. Hey, did you get to watch any of the fights, Chicano, this Saturday? The heavyweight action, maybe?
You know, I didn't, man, you know, and I apologize, but I'm going to listen off the air. You guys have a good night. I'll be listening the rest of the way.
Definitely. I appreciate you calling. Don't forget to watch Al Chile and catch our boy Chicano Profit. Make sure you subscribe to Al Chile Boxing and hit the notification so you know when they come on the air, man. So, all right, Drew, we were talking about all the young guys at 130, 135 pounds, and even the 140-pound division, which is up for grabs in a way, man, because Josh Taylor apparently says it's too expensive to keep all these titles. And we'll see what happens with this rematch with Jack Catterall, because Jack Catterall did kind of expose him in that recent fight. Who knows where the Josh Taylor was that ran through Ramirez so easily? He wasn't there that night, man. That's for sure.
I don't know. I feel Lawrence Taylor got a hold of him, sent some hookers up to his hotel room.
You think it was fair? How certain people are going to get these fights? Ramirez,
he's not fair at all.
Zapata deserves a shot. It just seems like Bob Arum had his hand in this a little bit.
I think Prograde at least deserves the WBA shot.
Right. And you know what? Nando says here, I wanted to post this again, that Regis played himself, man. I don't feel bad for him. And I'd like to know how Nando feels about that if he wants to call. How did he play himself? In my mind, I think he made a poor choice going with the promotional outfit he's with now. I really think that if he was going to get a better opportunity, he shouldn't have signed. Who did he sign with, Drew? Pro Bellum?
Yeah, Pro Bellum.
Yeah, it's kind of like he ends up fighting on Trilla, man. Like that's not what you want. That wasn't where the direction he should have sent his career in.
Gotta admit, I never thought I would agree with Nando on something. I'm not excited about this fight on Saturday night on Showtime.
Am I the only one not excited for this weekend's Showtime card? It would make a nice undercard, but where's a legit main event? We're going to get to that Showtime card, man. But actually, I don't know about that Showtime card being so bad. Mark Magsayo did just recently win the 126-pound from Gary Russell Jr., who's had some type of shoulder injury. He still couldn't knock out Gary Russell Jr. Not that anyone ever has. I mean, your boy Lomachenko took him to school, right?
Yeah. But
He's
Gary
not
Russell had a
excited.
bad, Gary Russell had a bad arm fighting this guy, man. Like, whole fight, he fought on one arm. And, like, I thought it was still competitive. I thought it was still a close fight.
Yeah, we'll get to that preview of this weekend. But, guys, let's just quickly pivot over to the heavyweight division because, man, Joyce has a very impressive win over that other guy, Dubois, right? He, like, broke the guy's eye socket, and then Dubois comes back. He comes back to fight on Where did he fight? Just like 2 weeks ago, he fought in some type of like college auditorium or some shit, a high school auditorium.
He fought at a fucking bingo hall.
A bingo hall for Don King
a bingo
Productions.
hall.
Nobody saw that fight, but people still think that Dubois is kind of one of the future players in the heavyweight division. Joyce effed him up. Slow, methodical, plotting fighter that he is. Busted up his opposition, and what's this dude's name? Christian the Hammer, man. Did you see the Hammer's physique? Is sloppy an understatement? What do you guys think, man? Let me know. Did Christian Hammer train for this fight? Because he gassed out quick. Credit to him for being tough and getting up off the floor as many times as he did, but
I God damn it. Fucking, Christian Hammer, man, what a fucking every time I watch him get his ass kicked, it's funny as shit. It really is. Like, his footwork is so fucking bad, it's not even funny.
I got a clip here of the knockdown. Oh, there was more than one knockdown, right? There was a few in this. It only lasted 3 rounds or so.
For how much longer?
I
Tries
wonder
to detonate the big right hand towards Joyce again. He's got it where he wants it. Joyce going in for the finish. Still over a minute and a half to go in round 4. Joyce targeting the body again, and he can't.
Guy can't take a body shot, Drew. When your abs look like that, you can't really take a body shot. But let's talk about Joyce, because even Joe Habib is very, very high on him. Said he's maybe the second best heavyweight in the world. Joe, shout out to Joe for having me on the round table last Thursday. I appreciate you, brother. Could be the second best in his eyes. Drew's shaking his head. To Usyk, second only to Usyk. Best. I mean, he might agree with you, though. I think he said Usyk gave credit to Usyk there.
He's not the second best heavyweight. He's not even the third of I don't know if he's the fourth.
Shout out to Team Batman Boxing. Thanks for coming in. You don't think he might be the fourth?
He could be, but let me just say something right now. Like, Joyce, if you look at it, he's very slow movement, but you don't have to worry about that in the heavyweights because they're gonna bang. And except if you're Alexander Usyk, because I think Usyk easily beats Joyce. I really think Tyson Fury easily beats Joyce. Anthony Joshua, that could be an interesting fight and everything. He might do what he did in the second Andy Ruiz fight, won like Floyd and everything. So that's the only way how I can see him beating Joyce. I want to see him fight Philip Horgative.
Who? Oh, that guy.
Philip Horgative. Well, you can
man, I can barely spell the guy's name. Hello, MC High Life. Thanks for coming into my show. I appreciate you saying hello and giving me a thumbs up. We do have a call, Drew, if you want to take this call real quick.
Nando, what's up? Nando,
I'm not sure if it's Nando. Hey, you're on the Shoeshine.
Hey, now, what's going on? This is Meat Truck Mike. How you guys doing?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Meat Truck Mike. What's up, Mike? Did you watch any of the fights this weekend? What's your thoughts on them?
And my illegal cable box got zapped, so I wasn't able to watch them. And I'm not much of I don't like organized fighting. I like street fighting because I live in the hood. I just wanted to comment on the silly hats both you guys are wearing.
Yeah.
What's up with the Toronto hat? What's up? They're both suspect. What's up with the Toronto Blue Jays hat there, Drew?
Well, Drew's
I
going
like
to
the
answer
way
that.
it looks.
Yeah. He likes the way that hat looks. Of course, my hat is the Giants hat, of course. But, Mike, thanks a lot for giving me a call. Nice to have you on the air again. Mike, having fun here. Yeah, man. The MMA, actually, I have to say something about that. That MMA fight had a huge buzz in Las Vegas this weekend. The UFC MMA fight had a tremendous buzz. Even I tuned in to watch a little bit of the highlights on that. But back to the Juggernaut Joyce, guys. What do you guys think? Is Juggernaut's career going to be better than our choice in baseball hats?
I don't think my choice of baseball hat is very well. It goes with a lot of shit that I wear and everything. And who cares? Females like it.
All right, Drew,
it's
important. The Juggernaut, this was some type of eliminator for what it's worth. And this puts him in contention possibly to face someone that's kind of his nemesis, man. If you guys want to know what it would look like if he fights Usyk, all right? Because if you didn't already know, they've already fought. Nando says, Drew needs an A's hat. Okay. Well, are the A's moving to Las Vegas?
I wear it. I don't care.
It's right here. Let's get this right on my screen, man. This is Joe Joyce being taken to school by Usyk. Yeah, he's too slow. He's too slow. He's much too slow for Usyk, whether at cruiserweight or at heavyweight, whether as an amateur or as a professional. In my humble opinion, although Joe Joyce has a fan-friendly fighting style that reminds me of George Foreman, old school George Foreman, straight, thunderous, plodding, heavy hands, the kind that can hurt you. They don't look fast. He's not particularly, doesn't have particularly good hand speed, but he's thudding power, man. It's just not going to beat Usyk. It's just not. But could he beat other guys? That's what makes him interesting. Can he beat somebody like Deontay Wilder? Should Deontay Wilder return, Drew? Deontay Wilder. Can he put up a good fight with King Kong Ortiz or an Andy Ruiz or any of these other top 10 heavyweights? Yeah.
I could see him beating King Kong Ortiz. I could see him beating Andy Ruiz. Wilder is like a 60-40 fight in Wilder's favor.
Yeah.
And like
I'm seeing, I'm seeing a little bit of that on the internet. People talking about Deontay Wilder and Joe Joyce is interesting. Frank Warren is talking about it.
I think we should start a new segment next week. Confessions of a viewer. They could, like, I'll be the priest. They say their confessions, like Canelo just confessed that he watched UFC on Saturday, and I blessed his.
Who confessed it?
Chicano.
Yeah.
And I'll bless his sins away, and everything. I'll bless anybody's sins away.
Now, I watched the highlights. I didn't officially put it on, but Sin City Syndicate says, I was at Ellis Island Casino in Vegas, falling asleep from either the UFC fight or the giant fish and chips at the pub. Hashtag Fatboy Problems. Man, I love the Ellis Island, and I love the fish and chips, and I love the steak special, and I love the corned beef sandwich at 3 in the freaking morning. You don't have to twist my arms. I'll go to Ellis Island any day of the week. I love it, man. And was the UFC fight that boring, guys? I thought there was heavy buzz around this fight. I saw that one pretty good knockout from that former kickboxing champ against Strickland. The guy got knocked out. I thought that was a pretty good knockout. Again, I'm just watching highlights though, man.
Well, I can't say what I like because I never been to Vegas, so I can't say what I like. Yeah.
All right, moving on to this weekend. There is some boxing, guys. I said Joe Joyce. We talked about Joe Joyce, but let's see. In a rematch, man. And you know, I swear that Pilav was just fighting on that shitty boxing thing called Trilla, man. But Pilav is back to fighting on DAZN against Chisora, who we just saw take another one of his epic ass whoopings. Drew, Pilav has the win on Chisora, but at this point in their career, what's going to happen in this rematch, guys? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is a rematch. It's going to be on DAZN. For most of us, it'll probably be midday here in the U.S., a midday fight. I think this is one that people might be excited about overseas.
I really see the loser of this fight should consider retirement. Definitely. Even though we thought Derek Chisora retired 7 times already.
I think everybody said that in his last outing, but not too many people saw Pilav fight on Trilla recently. I think that Pilav fight, wasn't that like the triangle ring? It was some weird fucking shit that Trilla came out with. No?
He fought Frank Mir on the triangle ring. He fought Jeff Forrest on a regular ring.
Okay, he fights Frank Mir from the former UFC Vegas guy, and he beat the crap out of him. He knocked him out, right?
Yeah, 1 round. Actually, he beat him. He knocked him out in less than a minute.
All right. Well, come on. Frank Mir's well past his 40s, and he's never really been a professional fighter.
Hell, let's leave him alone.
I don't want to beat it. He got a great UFC career, but shit, just a way to tie this in. That's his most recent win. I thought he got his ass beat recently. I apologize to Pilav.
Yeah, but we got to really calm ourselves down when it comes to Frank Mir. His daughter is going to kick Dave's ass.
I think
we don't need that to happen.
I think Chisora is the least washed up of the two, man. And I think that they're probably on the same level. Pilav is coming off a win, so he's got that on his side. But I think what we're going to have on Saturday is a really fan-friendly throwback old school heavyweight fight. You can go back and watch the first one. But you surprised me, Drew. You've got who winning the rematch?
I got Chisora winning the rematch. I think he's knocking Pilav out. Pilav has always been a one-handed fighter. And it's two punches. It's our straight right hand. No, actually, it's a right hook or a straight jab, right jab. That's all he's always been. His resume isn't good at all. When he steps up to fight Klitschko and Joshua, they barely knocked him out. Even though he did have some success against Joshua and everything, but he's clearly a one-handed fighter. And Chisora, I think he's going to get inside and do some damage to Pilav. He's going to have to. It's the only way he's going to win this fight, because Pilav's going to try to box him the whole fight.
All right, a couple of comments. JC made me laugh. Pilav is a freaky vato. Pilav is a freaky vato, man. He got himself in a little bit of controversy with some of these female reporters they throw out there. That was some pretty heavy sexual assault allegations, but none of them are as bad as that I've heard recently as Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz takes the cake for Freak of the Year so far.
Like me, he got good taste in women. She's hot.
Jojo Diaz, you want to talk about freaky? That's the guy, man. Or Raleigh Romero's allegations, those were salacious. Those were something else.
Well, again, those two.
I think, but hey, the NFL's got its own problems, man. They got quarterbacks that like to go to massage parlors. They got their own. They got their hands full.
And what a happy endings.
Well, I'm hoping the Shoeshine has a happy ending today on a Tuesday night, because it's not usually our night. I am not so prepared. Hello, greetings to Lee Groves, man. It's great to have you in the chat. I always appreciate your fantastic commentary on other friends' channels, man. It's always great to have Lee Groves, a great writer like that, watching our show. Saludos to him. We were just getting done with our predictions. I didn't get to chime in on that Pilav Chisora too, and I'm going to have to agree with you, Drew. Chisora pulls this one out, man. I know, I love watching Chisora fight. I don't enjoy Pilav fight. To watch him fight. I can't say there's like a fight where I'm like, oh, but Chisora's entertaining one way or another. He just is.
The only thing I don't like watching with Chisora is him after the fight say, oh, I think they robbed me. I won the fight. When you clearly didn't win the fucking fight.
Oh, man. Let's see here. Sin City Cynic says, Shoe Drew, we are truly in the dog days of summer with these AAA minor league matchups. Hurry up, Mexican Independence Day weekday. Yeah, hey, there's a little bit of a slow patch coming up as we await some bigger fights in July. For some people, Ryan Garcia, I'm sure we'll have the ladies calling us next Monday when we do this predictions on Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna. But that's what we get right now, There is a good fight. Listen, I think the 126-pound championship here that's up for grabs on Showtime is very interesting, because Ray Vargas, if you want to see Ray Vargas at his best, go back and watch him on DAZN. It was about 3 years ago when he fought the Japanese kid Kamita. Kamita is a Japanese fighter whose parents sent him to Mexico to learn how to fight Mexican style. Kamita fully speaks Spanish, and he was only had one loss to this guy named, I think, Jamie Mitchell at 122, and they went up for the belt, the title at 122. 122 is the hottest division in boxing, one of them. And now in 2018, when he fought Kamita at the StubHub Center for that vacant title, it wasn't that hot. But anyways, Ray Vargas, 31-0 against the Filipino Max Sayao. And I've been listening to other people thinking that Max Sayao is the better of the two fighter, but I have to disagree, man. I think that Ray Vargas is going to pick up that title this weekend. I think it's going to transfer hands just as quickly as Max Sayao picked up his title against Gary Russell Jr., who, in Gary Russell Jr.'s defense, had a bum shoulder. I'm sorry, it's not an excuse, but he beat clearly a one-handed fighter in Gary Russell Jr. Isn't it ironic, Drew, that Gary Russell Jr. lost to one of your favorite fighters, Lomachenko, who also... some people say used that as an excuse when he lost to Teal. His shoulders got a shoulder.
Well, a lot of people say it's easy. The fight was easy work, but I call them fucking idiots.
Ray Vargas, also known as Cantinflas, almost stands at 5'11", man. He's a freakishly tall fighter from Mexico City. He's undefeated, but it's not like he's a household name in boxing, especially even as a Mexican fighter. But I think he snatches this title up. And if he can negotiate somehow a fight with the very best 126-pounder, in my opinion, and that's El Vaquero, Navarrete, over at Top Rank, then we have a really, really interesting unification match at 126 pounds featherweight, 2 Mexican undefeated champions. It would be fantastic. It would be fantastic. So there, we got to watch this fight on Saturday and see if Max Sayo is a one-hit wonder or if he takes out a solid competitor, someone who was undefeated, a former champion at 122 pounds, and Ray Vargas. Let me know what you guys think. Drew, what do you think?
I'm gonna pick Vargas, even though I'm not really pleased with the fight.
You're not pleased with the fight. Nando Lama says Max Sayo was winning that fight, Dave, before the purported shoulder injury, by the way. Purported. I don't know. It did look like he was letting his hands go. So, Drew, do you think Max Sayo keeps his title?
No.
No, you think he's going to transfer hands? 126-pound division isn't getting the attention right. I don't know. Is it getting the attention? There's a champion in the UK. I think what it really needs is for the clear, definitive person to emerge as the guy who cleans up the division at 126, man. Because they want Navarrete to move up to fight Shakur Stevenson when he's wickedly too small. He's way too small for Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, he beats up on everybody at featherweight, but he actually moved up from 122 himself, man. I think he gets annihilated by Shakur Stevenson. It's not going to be a good look for him. Don't let your title go at 126, Navarrete. Your best fights are going to be right there. Lots of good competition. Man, this was good, Drew. Tell me what's on your mind, bro. Let's wrap up the show because this was kind of one of these last-minute things. If you want to give us a call real quick, let me see. Yeah, at least the phone line is still open. If not, we're going to wrap up this show. Nando says, Ray Vargas is hard to watch. Pity Pat Det. LOL. See, people are not too jazzed up about this fight. As Sin City Syndicate says, hey, we got to get to the good stuff in September, man. We got to get to the good fights. Anali Jaramillo, thank you for joining our chat tonight. It's very nice to see you. All right, Drew. Which one? What do you got here? Got this one? There we go.
Yeah, Dave, you can share it. You can share your thoughts. You can share.
I'm all talked off, man. Sin City Syndicate current odds: Philly Eagles plus 164 for division champs. I love this. We got our own guy giving us sports odds.
I might even pick them. I might pick the Eagles are winning division this year.
I read this week, and the sources are unconfirmed. It's probably from like a hip hop news site, that Colin Kaepernick gave the absolute worst performance possible for an NFL tryout, Drew. So I will not see Colin Kaepernick return to the field as a Las Vegas Raiders. It don't look too good, man.
You know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to show something. Remember that poll I put? Remember we had that conversation a couple weeks ago, Dave? And then I put a poll up on Twitter.
Yes.
And everything. And I made a decision.
Yeah.
Tuesday nights will belong to me.
Tuesday nights. Drew's going to start his own. Is this it? Give me the formal announcement.
Drew Evo. Philly Irish Drew Evo. The greatest thing since sliced bread. Will have his own sports podcast in about a month's time.
I love it. I love it. Just as NFL preseason starts to heat up. By the way, we have Nurse Viv in the room. Thank you, Nurse Viv. Of course, the wife of a good friend of ours of the show, man. I'm talking about Derek Ware, former NFL player from the Arizona Cardinals. Shout out to Nurse Viv and Derek Ware. I love it, man. Tuesday nights for Drew, a sports podcast. I hope I get to be one of your guest commentary guys, man. I hope so.
Well, I got a lot to do all this shit. So I'm giving myself a month's time.
All right, guys, don't give up on the sport of boxing. I know it's going to be a wonderful July. We just had a holiday weekend. There is some boxing on. Teixeira, the former 154-pound champ, who just lost his belt recently. It's now in the hands of Charlo after exchange hands. But he's fighting on ESPN+. against a really good Eastern European fighter. Check that out on ESPN Plus. DAZN. Get everything you pay for from DAZN. Watch that fight. Showtime if you got it. Don't miss that title fight at 126. We'll be back to our regularly late Monday nights. I appreciate everybody who's new, everybody who's been here with us. Don't forget to hit the like. Drop me a comment how we can improve the show. And give us a call if you don't mind. If you want to critique our clothing, my baseball hat, Drew's baseball hat, whatever, give us a call next Monday night on the Shoeshine. I'm Dave from the 408. Drew, we'll see you guys next Monday. Peace.